Absolutely. Here's a 400-word motivational speech in the style you requested. Have you ever felt the weight of financial pressure so heavily on your shoulders that it keeps you awake at night? So many people wrestle with worry about bills, debts, and the future, and it seems like peace is always just out of reach. But there is a source of true financial freedom that goes beyond budgets, jobs, or investments. It comes from a place that the world often overlooks, a place of faith, trust, and spiritual alignment. One psalm, when read with understanding and heart before bed, can shift your perspective entirely. It reminds us that God is not only aware of our struggles, but is actively working on our behalf. As we meditate on His promises, the anxiety that grips us begins to loosen, and our minds start to focus on solutions instead of limitations. This is not just about wishing for wealth, it's about preparing your heart and mind to receive provision in ways you might never expect. Consider how many people live their lives in scarcity thinking. They focus only on what they lack, and their thoughts become traps. But when you meditate on a psalm that speaks of God's provision, peace replaces panic. You start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. Doors open in business, careers, and even in unexpected places because your mindset aligns with the possibilities God has already prepared for you. The practice is simple but powerful. As you prepare to rest, read the psalm slowly. Let each verse sink deep into your spirit. Reflect on the words and visualize your life unburdened by financial fear. Allow gratitude for what you already have to fill your heart. This is a discipline that rewires your mind. By the time you close your eyes, you are not carrying worry to bed, you are carrying faith. Over time, this nightly habit transforms more than your finances. It transforms your outlook, your confidence, and your inner peace. You begin to understand that financial freedom is not a destination only measured by numbers in a bank account. It is a state of trust and confidence, knowing that God's hand is guiding you toward abundance. The psalm becomes more than words on a page. It becomes a prayer, a shield, and a strategy for life. David Jeremiah. Here are 5 key takeaways, keynotes from the speech. Faith over fear. True financial freedom begins with shifting focus from worry and scarcity to trust in God's provision. Power of psalm meditation. Reading and reflecting on a specific psalm before bed can transform your mindset and align you with abundance. Mindset shapes reality. Gratitude and faith-focused thoughts open doors and opportunities that fear and negativity block. Discipline of reflection. Consistent nightly meditation rewires your mind, replacing anxiety with peace and confidence. Holistic financial freedom. Financial freedom is not only about money, it is a state of trust, peace, and spiritual alignment with God's guidance. Absolutely. Here's an expanded version of Keynote. No, 1 inch, 600 words, following your instructions. Faith over fear is the cornerstone of experiencing true financial freedom. So often, people live under the weight of worry about money, thinking that their future depends entirely on their own efforts, their paycheck, or the next big opportunity. Fear whispers constantly in our ears, reminding us of bills, debts, and uncertainties. It tells us we are not enough, that we might fail, that we cannot overcome the obstacles ahead. And when we respond to life from this place of fear, our actions become cautious, limited, and sometimes even paralyzed. Fear narrows our vision, clouds our judgment, and prevents us from seeing the full possibilities that exist for our lives. But faith, on the other hand, expands our perspective. Faith allows us to step beyond what we can see and trust in what God can do, even when the path seems uncertain. It is a conscious choice to rely on God's promises rather than our own understanding, to acknowledge that His resources and wisdom far exceed our own. When we prioritize faith over fear, it begins with a shift in our thought patterns. Instead of waking up anxious about what might go wrong today, We remind ourselves of God's faithfulness. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending problems do not exist. It means facing those challenges with confidence that God is bigger than any obstacle, that He is aware of our needs, and that He is actively working to provide solutions in ways we may not yet understand. Faith trains the mind to look for opportunities instead of only seeing limitations. It teaches patience, perseverance, and the courage to take steps that fear would normally prevent. Every time we choose faith in a moment of uncertainty, we build resilience and we create an environment where financial breakthrough becomes possible. Faith over fear also transforms how we handle resources. Those who operate out of fear tend to hoard, worry about scarcity, and focus on what they do not have. Decisions are made from a place of anxiety, often leading to missed opportunities and self-imposed limitations. In contrast, faith inspires generosity, careful stewardship, and proactive action. When we trust that God will provide, we are more willing to take calculated risks, invest in growth, and give generously, knowing that provision is not dependent solely on our own abilities. This mindset creates a flow of abundance that fear can never produce. Moreover, faith reshapes our response to setbacks. Financial challenges are inevitable for everyone at some point, but those who rely on faith see these obstacles differently. Fear interprets setbacks as failures and dead ends, while faith views them as lessons, redirections, or temporary pauses in a larger plan. Faith allows us to recover more quickly, maintain hope, and continue moving forward, even when circumstances seem bleak. It is this perspective that turns financial struggle into spiritual growth and eventually into financial freedom. The practice of prioritizing faith over fear is not always easy. It requires deliberate choices, daily discipline, and a willingness to trust when outcomes are not immediately visible. But every small act of faith strengthens our confidence in God's provision, and over time it transforms the way we live, the decisions we make, and the financial path we follow. David Jeremiah. Here's an expanded version of Keynote. No, 2 inches, 600 words, following your instructions. The power of Psalm meditation before bed is a spiritual practice that can transform not only your mindset but also the way you experience life's challenges, including financial pressures. Many people end their days feeling drained, stressed, and anxious about what tomorrow will bring. They carry the weight of unfinished tasks, unpaid bills, and financial uncertainty into their sleep, which affects not only rest but also clarity, decision-making, and overall well-being. By intentionally turning to a psalm in these moments, you create a sacred pause, a time to realign your thoughts with truth, hope, and divine guidance. The words of the psalm serve as more than just a comforting message. They are a tool for focus, a guide for reflection, and a declaration of trust that reshapes your inner world. When you meditate on a psalm before sleep, you are engaging your mind in a form of spiritual discipline. This meditation is not a quick glance at words or a hurried recitation. It is a deliberate process of reading slowly, reflecting on the meaning of each verse, and internalizing its promise. As you speak or think the words, you are actively choosing to replace worry with faith, scarcity with abundance, and fear with confidence. Over time, this consistent engagement rewires your thought patterns. Your subconscious mind begins to associate nighttime with peace, trust, and expectation, rather than anxiety and doubt. By the time your head hits the pillow, your mind is prepared for rest, your spirit is calm, and your heart is open to guidance and solutions that may have been hidden during the busyness of the day. Psalm meditation also has the power to clarify perspective. In the midst of financial stress, it is easy to see only limitations. We fixate on what we lack, the challenges ahead, or the mistakes we have made. The words of a psalm, however, redirect attention to God's sovereignty, provision, and enduring faithfulness. They remind us that we are not alone in our struggles and that divine help is always available. This shift in focus creates mental space to notice opportunities and resources that were previously overlooked. It trains the mind to anticipate solutions rather than dwell on problems. In essence, meditation acts as a lens that transforms how we view our circumstances, helping us see potential rather than just obstacles. Another important aspect of Psalm meditation is the cultivation of gratitude. As you reflect on the verses, you naturally recognize blessings, answered prayers, and past provisions. Gratitude is a powerful tool that fosters a mindset of abundance, which in turn invites more abundance into your life. When you are thankful for what you already have, fear and worry lose their grip, and you are better able to make thoughtful financial decisions, take necessary risks, and respond to opportunities with confidence and clarity. The habit of ending each day with a psalm creates consistency in spiritual practice. Consistency strengthens faith, builds resilience, and allows the principles of the psalm to take root deeply in your heart. It is in these quiet moments before sleep that transformation begins, shaping not only financial circumstances but also emotional stability, peace of mind, and spiritual growth. The psalm becomes a nightly anchor, reminding you that you are guided, protected, and equipped to navigate life with trust rather than fear. David Jeremiah. Here's an expanded version of Keynote No. 3 inches, 600 words, following your instructions. Mindset shapes reality, and nowhere is this truer than in the realm of financial freedom. The way we think about money, opportunity, and provision directly influences the decisions we make, the risks we are willing to take, and the opportunities we notice. Many people unknowingly live trapped in a cycle of scarcity because their thoughts are dominated by fear, doubt, and limitation. They see every obstacle as a dead end, every financial challenge as insurmountable, and every setback as proof that success is out of reach. This mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, where negative thinking breeds cautious actions, missed opportunities, and continued struggle. On the other hand, a mindset rooted in faith, hope, and expectation opens doors that fear would have kept closed. It allows individuals to approach life with creativity, confidence, and perseverance. The connection between mindset and reality is both practical and spiritual. On a practical level, those with a positive and faithful mindset are more likely to recognize opportunities and act decisively. They are willing to learn, adapt, and take calculated risks, seeing potential rather than limitations. In contrast, a fearful mindset focuses solely on what could go wrong, leading to indecision, procrastination, and missed chances. Spiritually, mindset aligns with trust in God's guidance and provision. When thoughts are centered on divine promises rather than scarcity, a person begins to see life through a lens of possibility. The mind becomes a fertile ground where hope can grow and where decisions are made with clarity, wisdom, and courage. Visualization and meditation play a critical role in shaping mindset. When you consciously envision yourself achieving financial freedom, making wise choices, and stepping into abundance, your brain begins to recognize these scenarios as attainable. This is not wishful thinking, it is training your mind to focus on solutions and to act in ways that bring those visions into reality. Reading and reflecting on inspiring words, such as those found in a psalm about provision, reinforces this positive mindset. It replaces fear-driven thoughts with trust-based ones, helping to form habits that align with financial growth and stability. A mindset that shapes reality also thrives on gratitude and contentment. People who consistently acknowledge the blessings they already have develop an internal sense of wealth, even when material resources are limited. Gratitude shifts focus from lack to abundance, encouraging action from a place of confidence rather than desperation. Those who approach life with gratitude are better equipped to see creative solutions, invest wisely, and manage resources responsibly. They are less likely to be swayed by temporary setbacks or market fluctuations because their foundation is strong, grounded in faith, and an understanding that provision flows in many forms. Lastly, mindset affects relationships and networks, which are essential to financial success. People with a positive and faith-driven mindset attract opportunities and collaborators, while fear and negativity often repel them. Those who operate from trust, hope, and confidence inspire confidence in others, opening doors to partnerships, mentorships, and guidance that might have remained closed otherwise. In this way, the mindset you cultivate does more than influence your internal state. It directly impacts the external realities of your life, shaping the financial freedom you are able to achieve. David Jeremiah, here's an expanded version of Keynote, 4 inches, 600 words, following your instructions. The discipline of reflection is a transformative habit that can reshape not only your financial life, but also your overall perspective on challenges and opportunities. Reflection is more than thinking about your day. It is a deliberate practice of pausing, evaluating, and learning from experiences. For those seeking financial freedom, reflection becomes a powerful tool to align actions with purpose, decisions with faith, and habits with long-term goals. When we take time each day, especially before bed, to reflect on our choices, successes, and setbacks, we cultivate a deeper understanding of how our thoughts and actions affect our financial journey. This discipline allows us to identify patterns, recognize areas of growth, and make adjustments that create consistent progress. Many people underestimate the power of reflection because it requires slowing down in a fast-paced world. It is tempting to rush from task to task, paycheck to paycheck, without pausing to assess whether our efforts are producing meaningful results. Reflection, however, provides clarity. By reviewing the day with intentionality, we begin to see where fear led to hesitation, where doubt prevented action, and where faith inspired courage. This self-awareness is invaluable because it allows us to make conscious choices moving forward rather than repeating unproductive cycles. Over time, these small adjustments, born from daily reflection, compound into significant growth and financial stability. Reflection is also closely tied to gratitude, which is a critical component of financial freedom. When we consciously acknowledge the resources, opportunities, and guidance already present in our lives, we create a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. Gratitude reminds us that even small victories matter and that God's provision is continuous, even if it does not always appear immediately. This perspective encourages wise decision-making and fosters patience, helping us to resist impulsive actions driven by fear or anxiety. Reflection coupled with gratitude forms a spiritual practice that strengthens both the mind and heart, preparing us to receive provision with clarity and humility. Another benefit of reflection is its ability to refine focus and priorities. Financial freedom is not achieved by chasing every opportunity indiscriminately. It requires alignment between values, goals, and actions. Reflection helps us evaluate whether our efforts are moving us closer to these goals or diverting our energy elsewhere. By regularly reviewing choices and outcomes, we develop discernment, learning to invest time, money, and energy in what truly matters. This disciplined approach reduces wasted effort and increases the likelihood of success, creating a pathway to sustainable financial independence. Finally, reflection nurtures resilience in the face of setbacks. Financial challenges are inevitable, but how we respond to them determines the trajectory of our journey. Those who practice reflection can analyze difficulties without judgment, extract lessons, and apply them to future decisions. This transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth and strengthens our ability to persevere. The discipline of reflection, therefore, is not merely a mental exercise, it is a spiritual practice, a habit of preparation, and a catalyst for lasting change. It equips us to approach each day with intention, confidence, and a renewed sense of purpose, ultimately creating conditions where financial freedom is not only possible but sustainable. David Jeremiah. Here's an expanded version of Keynote No. 5 inches, 600 words, following your instructions. Holistic financial freedom is a concept that goes beyond simply having money in the bank. True freedom is measured not only by the balance in your accounts, but also by the peace, trust, and spiritual alignment that guide your decisions and actions. Many people chase wealth through jobs, investments, or business ventures, believing that accumulation alone will solve their problems. Yet, without a foundation of faith and a mindset attuned to divine guidance, even significant earnings can leave the heart restless and the spirit anxious. Holistic financial freedom begins with recognizing that provision is multifaceted. It involves emotional stability, spiritual trust, disciplined actions, and the ability to steward resources wisely. By embracing this broader view, individuals can achieve a state of abundance that is sustainable and resilient, rather than fleeting or dependent solely on circumstances. A key component of this holistic freedom is trust. Trust in God's provision changes the way we approach challenges and opportunities. It allows us to make decisions from a place of confidence rather than fear. When we trust that our needs will be met, we are more willing to take calculated risks, pursue opportunities that align with our purpose, and respond to obstacles with perseverance rather than panic. This trust does not remove the need for effort or planning. Instead, it provides a framework where action is guided by faith and anxiety no longer dominates the mind. Trust empowers us to align our financial goals with principles of integrity, generosity, and responsibility, creating a balance between aspiration and stewardship. Holistic financial freedom also requires discipline in managing resources. This includes budgeting, saving, investing, and giving with intention. Discipline is not restrictive. It is liberating because it enables us to make choices that honor both our needs and the larger purpose of our lives. A disciplined approach ensures that money serves as a tool rather than a source of stress. It creates space for strategic planning and thoughtful decision-making, which together cultivate financial stability. When combined with a mindset of gratitude and faith, discipline transforms finances into a means of growth, opportunity, and security, rather than a constant source of worry. Emotional and spiritual alignment is equally important. Financial freedom is incomplete if it comes at the cost of peace of mind or ethical compromise. Aligning actions with spiritual values ensures that our pursuit of provision enhances rather than diminishes our character. This alignment fosters contentment, reducing the temptation to compare ourselves with others or chase wealth for status alone. It instills resilience, enabling us to navigate setbacks with perspective and maintain hope even in challenging circumstances. When heart, mind, and actions are synchronized, money becomes a resource that supports life's purpose rather than a master that dictates it. Finally, holistic financial freedom encompasses the ability to impact others positively. When our finances are managed wisely and our mindset is grounded in faith, we can extend generosity to family, community, and causes that reflect our values. This creates a cycle of blessing and reinforces the understanding that true abundance is not limited to personal gain, but also includes the capacity to uplift others. It is this integration of trust, discipline, spiritual alignment, and generosity that defines the fullness of financial freedom, allowing individuals to live confidently, purposefully, and in harmony with God's provision. David Jeremiah. Here's a powerful conclusion and ending for the entire speech, tying all 5 keynotes together in a motivational and spiritually uplifting way. As we reflect on the journey toward financial freedom, it becomes clear that this path is not solely about numbers, accounts, or material accumulation. It is about the transformation of our hearts, minds, and spirits. Faith over fear sets the foundation, reminding us that God's provision is constant and that worry does not need to dominate our lives. Through the power of Psalm meditation, we learn to align our thoughts with divine promises, replacing anxiety with trust and preparing our hearts to receive guidance and opportunities that might otherwise go unnoticed. Our mindset, shaped by focus, gratitude, and expectation, creates the reality we experience, influencing the choices we make and the paths we pursue. The discipline of reflection sharpens our awareness and strengthens our resilience. By pausing each day to evaluate our decisions, acknowledge blessings, and learn from setbacks, we cultivate wisdom and clarity, ensuring that our actions move us closer to sustainable success. Holistic financial freedom then emerges as the natural outcome of this alignment, combining trust, disciplined stewardship, spiritual integrity, and generosity. It is a state where money serves purpose, opportunities are met with courage, and peace of mind coexists with ambition. Financial freedom, when approached in this way, is no longer a distant dream, but a lived reality rooted in faith, guided by reflection, and sustained by intentional action. It empowers us to rise above fear, embrace abundance in all forms, and live confidently in God's provision. When heart, mind, and spirit are in harmony, financial freedom is not just about what we gain, but about who we become along the way. People equipped to steward resources wisely, inspire others, and experience life in fullness, trust, and peace. David Jeremiah